Welcome to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Matt, the Beast Bonner, the champ, middleweight champion of the world. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing well, mate. I've kind of just finished off the last day of training, pretty much, for the next fight, next Friday in London. So I'm pleased and feeling good. I'm feeling ready for the fight.
Brilliant. So what was today? Was it like pads, wrestling? What was it you were focusing on today?
I started doing some kind of boxing pads and then moved on to some really like wrestling and MMA type grappling, wall wrestling, cage wrestling, stuff like that. It was quite low key at this point. It's just to get moving and get the brain working a little bit. But I enjoyed it. It was a really good session.
And how are you feeling?
Has that been over in Liverpool or?
Yeah, that was at Next Generation this morning. Yeah.
Excellent.
And how are you feeling the week before your first title defense?
I'm feeling good. I mean, last week I was a little bit ill. That kind of wrote me off for 4 or 5 days. So I've actually come in this week feeling really, really fresh, which has kind of been the silver lining. Well, last week I had a little bit of the norovirus, I think, and I was a little bit wrote off, felt really fatigued for 4 or 5 days. But so I've come in Monday this week and just felt great. And like I said before, really ready to get in there and defend this title for the first time.
Does that feel any different? You're defending the belt. Does it feel different at all?
No, I think if anything, and I kind of alluded to this, if I was going to win the title beforehand, I feel like the pressure's been taken off to a certain extent. To win the Cage Warriors title, that was a dream. It was a bucket list thing for me. I've been fighting Cage Warriors for a good long time, and I wanted the belt. Now I've got it. It's not like I can take my foot off the pedal or anything, but I've got it. I've done it. I've achieved it. And so yeah, I do feel like that the pressure is lower than it initially was for the Frederick fight.
And if you get the win next week, Matt, and you know anybody that's got that Cage Warrior strap around their waist, the UFC are never too far away from that. Is that something that you're interested in moving into if the opportunity presents itself?
Yeah, certainly. I think that's what's kind of been come up a lot for this fight camp is, you know, and it's not to say, like I said, I've took the foot off the pedal at all, but you know, am I as motivated for this fight that I was for the last fight? And the answer is probably not. I mean, I'm defending something I've already got. It's not like I'm king of the hill now, and before I wasn't. And you're always hungrier climbing the mountain than you are if you're already on top of it. So I am looking for that new challenge, whether that's the UFC. I am actually thinking of dropping down to welterweight after this fight and having a go at that as well. So if that opportunity came up, that would be fantastic. But certainly after this fight, I'd like a new challenge and something to really kind of take me to the next level.
So what have you found? How have you replaced that motivation?
I think it's, for me, it's staying disciplined. I mean, there is days and weeks and maybe a month sometimes that you don't want to train. It's tough. Getting punched in the face every morning and sparring and grappling and whatnot. It's super tough, but it's that discipline of this is a profession, this is a job. This isn't something, you know, you do because it's fun or anything like that, although, you know, it is. It's one of the main things is I want to accomplish things and I'm only going to, you know, accomplish them if I stay on the ball and get up every morning and train or eat the right nutrition, go to sleep, you know, at the right time at night. And it's not about being motivated. It's about being disciplined and staying on the ball when it comes to this sort of thing.
And I guess more importantly, that hunger has to be there. And you know, through watching Rocky 3 and knowing that when you know he's got that belt and he's got that newfound celebrity, and you know all of them things are being thrown his way. You know, for people that follow you on social media, you know you've took celebrity in your stride, Matt. You know we've seen you opening Greg's and we've seen you doing open top bus around your hometown. How's that been, Matt? I mean, I take it there's no paparazzi here at the moment. Are we in a safe space to talk?
I just had a flick outside. I was kind of moving the curtains around and just checking. Yeah, I think we're going to be all right. But Well, I'm from Warrington, which is a big town, but no one cared before, and no one cares now, really. So,
Oh
you
man,
know,
I thought you had like a sponsorship deal with Greg's. You were just walking past, getting like vegan sausage rolls thrown at you, and you were just catching and being like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Getting the old finger guns out and just down Warrington High Street.
not yet, not yet.
Oh,
Not
wonderful.
yet, not yet. Well, one really special thing that has happened for you is you got married, right?
That was right. Yeah, I got married. It was kind of early October time, which was the reason why I didn't compete on the last trilogy, or one of the reasons. One of them being I'd had quite a busy fight year up to that point, and then obviously the main thing being that I was getting married, and yeah, it was a lovely day actually. It went really nicely, and I'm horrible, mate. If people are around my house for like more than 2 hours, I start kind of thinking, you should be going home now. Really, I want my tea. So when you're kind of around people for the whole day, but it was all right. It was nice, and it was kind of, even though me and Leslie had been dating for quite a while before then, it was like the first kind of time her family and my family kind of properly mixed for that amount of time, and it was we both really enjoyed it.
No, but there was one notable absentee, wasn't there? There was your twin brother. I hear didn't make it.
Yeah,
He
that
was
was
quite
right.
busy though. Did he? Was the excuse valid? Tell us what he was doing.
Yeah, he had a good excuse. I still think he set that fight up on that day. He was thinking, I've got better things to do than be eating wedding cake all day. But no, he was competing for a European title. He's a Thai boxer, very high level Thai boxer. So he's competing over in London for a European title, and he won thankfully. But he was gutted not to be there, honestly, and I was disappointed that he wasn't there. But then, of course, there was that understanding of, no, I can't stop him fulfilling his dreams, and he would never do the same for me. So it was just something unfortunate happened, but I had a great wedding day, and he won his fight, and so it was a brilliant day all around.
Did you have a cardboard cutout of him floating around? Yeah, you did.
That's right. Yes, and it's funny actually because I ended up taking this cardboard cutting home, and I thought, what I'll do, I've got a gym like 30 seconds away from my house that I own that I run with Dan. And I said, what I'll do is I'm going to put this cardboard cutout right in front of the door. So when Dan unlocks the door, he's going to open this door, and it's going to be this cardboard cutout of himself standing right in front of him. Well, I forgot that I'd put it there. I've ended up going and opening the door first, and I've been scared by this fucking cardboard. I kind of played myself a little bit there, but well, the cardboard cutout is still in the gym somewhere. It's been tucked away. These little eyes follow you around everywhere on the cardboard cutout, so we've had to stick it somewhere and keep it out of the way.
I mean, just to sort of touch on next gen again. I mean, what a year it's been for that gym. Obviously, you getting the strap. We've seen, Paddy and Molly doing their thing. What's the vibe like in there at the moment, Matt?
It's a great atmosphere. I mean, every gym has its ups and downs, but like you've alluded to, for next gen, this has probably been their most successful year in terms of, Paddy's had a fantastic showcase over there, and Molly's done really well. She signed a new contract and whatnot. It looks like she's just announced she's got a new opponent for next year for March. I think the UFC are going to do a show in London around that time. So it's been a really strong year for them. Obviously, Cage Warriors again as well. I won the belt, and they had some other, fantastic results on there. So it's a good atmosphere, but it's been a good atmosphere since I've been there. Since I joined, kind of just probably like 2.5 years ago. It's a great gym, and they have great results because the coaching staff are so experienced and so on the ball, and that dribbles down to all of us. So hopefully next year will be better, and the year after that will be even better. But it's certainly for them, this will be, especially with how big Paddy is going to blow up. He's going to be an absolute superstar probably by the end of next year. So up and up, and I always say Paddy and Molly and whatnot, they paved the way for me and everybody else who wants to get to the UFC. The spotlight shined on them, and then it kind of flicks over to who else is in the gym, and that's me and Adam Cullen and and Nathan Fletcher and everybody else who's on the way up as well.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to the night you won the belt, because we were there watching live, and there was no crowd. It was quite an incredible few nights at that trilogy, but obviously particularly for you winning the belt off of Matthias Fredericks. It was a hard fight, though, right? I mean, when we were watching it live there, I mean, it was a performance that seemed to be the embodiment, particularly from your side, of heart and determination. I mean, Fredericks looks like he hits like a truck. I don't know how you took some of those shots, but you never gave in. And then the opportunity came up to get that submission in round 4, that rear naked choke. You took it. How looking back on that fight, how was the fight for you? And then afterwards, how were the emotions after getting that belt?
The fight was like you said, was extremely tough. That is probably the toughest fight in my career. It's the first time I've had to do anything past 3 rounds as well, because obviously championship rounds are 5-5s. Thankfully, we didn't have to go into the 5th, but it was tough. And I think obviously I was feeling that little bit of pressure coming in because, like I've said, it was the dream to win the Cage Warriors belt. And I think Frederick's very good, very strong, very powerful. But I do think I made that fight quite hard. I made the wrong decisions sometimes. Shooting in for the same double leg takedown and not really adjusting the game plan. But like you said, it was a little bit of show of courage for me to kind of just carry on, because from the round, I think I probably won every round, and I obviously had the 8-10 round when he threw the illegal knee. But I think if it got into that 5th, that could have been, that was dangerous. I was exhausted. I was so tired. I remember I'd locked up the rear naked choke and he'd tapped, and I remember walking off. I had Chris Lamb, who's the doctor, run up, and he kind of asked you how you are and how you're feeling. And I said, listen, I'm okay. I'm not hurt or concussed. I just need to sit down. And I plonked myself down and just got me breath. Tough fight, tough opponent, very intense opponent as well. I've never been in a cage with someone who was as tense as Frederick was. Normally, any kind of fighter, no, if you ask me, I want to win the fight as quick as possible. And if I have to hurt my opponent in the process, I'll do it, but it's not something I'll kind of take pleasure in doing. Where Frederick, I felt like he wants to finish the fight as violently as he can. He wants to do you damage. He doesn't just want to win the fight. He wants to destroy you. And I could certainly feel that kind of bouncing off him, that intensity. And I think that almost threw me out a little bit. It was a little bit of a shock.
I rewatched the fight and this morning, and even that kind of aggression and kind of, I don't know, I should sort of phrase it as ill will, but even once you'd beaten him, he didn't want to play ball, did he? You went to shake his hand, and he didn't seem particularly keen to kind of embrace or to congratulate you on your win. And like what was said in them moments, because it looked like there was some words exchanged. Like what was said?
I'm not really I'm not sure what his big fuss was. I mean, if anything, Frederick he'd hit me with the illegal knee in the second round, I believe. But if I'd have lost that fight, it would have been. I always think it's a handshake before the fight and it's a handshake after the fight. You don't need to go to your opponent and pick them up and lift a hand up or anything like that. But you show a level of respect, and that's what makes it different to a street fight or something like that. But he didn't really seem to want to engage in any of that. I went back after the show. We went back to the hotel, and I was standing in front of the elevator with my S&C coach, Paul Reed, and he turned to me and he said, "Wouldn't it be funny now if this elevator door opened and it was Frederick?" And I was like, "No, that wouldn't be funny, but never mind." And then the elevator door opened and it was like Frederick. And
No way.
And I said, "I'm not going in there." I said, I can't work out if he's going to do anything. I'm not going in there. And Frederick went, "No, come in. And so I was like, okay. So I walked in and I was looking at Paul Reed and I was like, "Listen, if this kicks off, I've just fought 4 rounds. I'm goosed. There's nothing left in me. So if this guy kicks off, I'm hiding behind you. You're looking after me now." But nothing happened. I think I got off at the 3rd floor, and then Paul Reed had to go up to the 5th floor with them, and I ran back to my hotel room and hid for the night.
Did anything get said in the elevator?
No, it was. You kind of wish it was, because it was that uncomfortable kind of like tapping and like. One of those kind
Oh,
of
that's
things.
horrible.
No.
Yeah. So
Because
you
he's
almost,
beckoned you in. He said, "Come in."
uh,
So you would think he's gonna say,
yeah.
"Mate, I'm sorry about not shaking your hand," or like, or even if he was gonna say something that was like, "Come on, let's rematch," because you know I had you. Saying
Yeah.
anything is better than
Would be
saying
better.
nothing.
Yeah. But we're stuck in the hotel room as well for the last 3 days. You can't even say like, "Oh, the weather's not very good, is it?" Weather's not very good out there. So there's no small talk opportunity or anything. So you just like, let's just hope I don't get sucker punched in the back of the head. And I'm going to go to my hotel room and then stay there for the rest for the rest of the time I'm at the hotel.
So
Well, go on, Blake.
no, I was gonna say your next fight is against and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, the Jati Milan. What can you tell us about him? Because I have to say I haven't found out a
Mm.
huge amount about him. So how do you feel like you match up to him style wise?
I think it's a very odd fight, this, and he's I don't know if you've seen any of his fights, but he's very passive. You'll take one step forward, he'll take 3 steps back. He doesn't want to engage, and you'll find this a lot with southpaws in general. They kind of want to invite you in, and then when you come in, they'll counter off that. So it's a strange fight. It's something I've had to kind of get my head around a little bit. It's being patient. He's very patient. It's about matching his patience. It's not about going in there and trying to take his space and trying to be too aggressive, because that's exactly what he wants you to do. And then he'll drop his level and come in for a takedown, or he'll throw a big overhand left. So it is tricky. He's a bit of a banana peel, this fella. He could trip. You could trip up on him. He's not to be taken lightly at all. And that's good, because that switches you on in camp and whatnot. But I mean, he's not fought for a year. You don't know what he's done in that year. Has he dossed off? Has he been messing about? Doing what everybody else did, is sat on the sofa and eat too much food over COVID lockdown, or has he been in the gym training, getting better, working on his grappling? The answer to that is I have no idea, and that's been the tricky thing about this camp. What's he going to bring to the table? It's a very awkward style.
And have you had to include anything to improve your situation if it does go into those championship rounds? I mean, you had that experience against Natias. Has there been any changes in this camp so that if it gets to rounds 4, rounds 5, your cardio's good to go?
Not really. I think the problem with the Frederick fight is that I was wasting a lot of energy. I was shooting him for that takedown constantly, and every time he was sprawling, and if you got a big fella like Frederick sprawling on top of you, that's chipping away at your energy system the whole time. So I've done plenty of 5-minute rounds in the gym when we're sparring, doing our sparring rounds and whatnot. We do that really as like a minimum in the gym. Even the amateur will spar 4 5s or 5-minute rounds. So I know my gas tank's there. I know the skill set's there. It's just about not getting drawn in to Milan's fight, and me being patient and using those 5 rounds. The best thing about the 5 rounds is, you've got 5 rounds to gather information and adjust the game plan if you need to. It doesn't have to be done in the first 2 or 3 rounds. It's, this is probably going to be a 5-minute round fight.
And I guess one of the big differences this time is, well, hopefully, all sorts of things seem to be unfolding in the news at the moment, but there's going to be a crowd there. Looking forward to fighting in front of people again?
I am, surprisingly. It's not that the crowd ever kind of fazed me or anything, but it never came up in terms of like, oh, I'm really going to enjoy the crowd or anything. But now, after being in lockdown, I was very successful during lockdown, and there was no crowds, and I still enjoyed fighting. But it does add the extra dynamic and a little bit more atmosphere. And I've got people travelling down from Warrington to come watch in London. So surprisingly, I am looking forward to there being a crowd there, and hopefully kind of soaking it up and just being grateful for people coming down and watching me. It's a Friday night. It's 3 hours away from Warrington, and people are booking hotels and booking tickets and whatnot. So I say the overall feeling from that is I'm grateful there's a crowd there, and hopefully I can get a good result for them.
Wonderful.
One of the other things that I've really enjoyed playing out is once you got that belt, some people started calling you out.
That's right.
Yeah, there was a Cage Warriors San Diego card, and you got called out by some American lad on that.
That's
The
right.
way you deal with these call outs, mate, has been Fantastic. Like, you are one of the most underrated follows on like social media. Your Instagram game, you're the self-proclaimed meme king.
Meme
And
king.
yeah, and but it has been really, really funny. How has it been to be like people are calling your name and calling you out, and it's just giving you, it seems, just a lot of laughs and loads of content?
I love it. I love it. Every time one of these guys calls me out, I always end up getting another 20, 30 followers off the back end of it. So it's always good. Yeah, I love it. And like I say, those memes, they take about 30 seconds to make. I'm not kind of a massive personality. You talk about someone like Paddy Pimblett, and he's a big personality, and he's funny and he grabs your attention when he's in the room. But I'm just not one of those people. I'm more of the guy who's gonna, laugh and not be a part of it all. But I'm not gonna be the main guy. So these kind of memes and stuff is a way that I can kind of, I suppose, bring out a little bit of my personality and make a few people laugh. And I don't think any of them have been overly offensive or anything like that. I would never kind of go after people's families or anything like that and anything silly. But if I can do a meme and get a few laughs and get a few follows, then I'm definitely gonna be doing that.
Yeah, but
Wonderful.
you've done it really well. Again, as you say, there's not been any like huge animosity. Nothing's ever got dark or family. It's all been quite silly stuff, but really
Yeah,
entertaining and
that's
really
it.
funny. And then you put that hand in hand with some of your more self-deprecating stuff, or taking the piss out of your brother, and like copy and pasting, or like whatever, photoshopping a picture of yourself on an open top bus tour, and all these things. I just think make it really, really entertaining. I just
Absolutely.
keep doing it, man. I think it's great.
I think, and this is, if I've got any kind of beef with the fella I'm fighting on Friday, Jati Milan, it's that there's nothing, you would not know that he's fighting for a world title next week. There's been no real social media. Maybe he's updated his story once or something on Instagram. There's nothing that's kind of built up this fight. And I do kind of wonder why, when you fight for a world title, you're putting yourself on the biggest shows in the world. You're 7-0. You could be going to the UFC after this if you play your cards right. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want to promote yourselves on these, these social media kind of platforms. They're free. It doesn't cost anything. These memes and being in the limelight is. I've got quite a lot of sponsors this time, which are kind of very hard to get. And I've managed to get a lot of products and a lot of cash off these sponsors. And this is just because I'll post a silly meme or I'll keep people up to date on Instagram, and it catches people's attention. So, for me, if I can do something like that, which again takes 30 seconds a day to do, why wouldn't you do it? And why wouldn't you build yourself up off these things?
Yeah, well, you'll have to teach me how to do all the meme stuff, mate. I've got no idea. I'm absolutely useless at all that stuff. So we'll have to have a chat about that. Matt, have you got anything, Stu?
No, I was just going to start thanking Matt for giving his time up again.
No, same, man. Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the show. We always enjoy your company, and as I say, anyone out there that's listening to this, please go and check out Matt's social media pages, particularly his Instagram. Loads of really funny stuff on there, and obviously the main thing is best of luck. Cage Warriors 131 on Friday the 10th. You're headlining that event against Dejati Milan for the middleweight strap. So best of luck to you, mate, and hope all goes well in the lead up to and during the fight.
Absolutely.
Cheers, fellas. Thanks for having me on again. I appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll see you soon at some point.
Absolutely.
Nice one.
Best of luck,
Thanks,
Matt.
mate.
Thanks again, mate.